Getting started a little early. We're going to focus on dailies, of course, and then we're going to do story progression. And I will refrain from gushing about the healer transmog that I have going on. And just in time for Mother's Day, too, Roe v. Wade. You know, the best gift you can give to your mother is her civil rights. So I think going forward, I'm going to be working on several different entries and beginnings to this streaming session. Ludwig has a really good one. I'm really impressed with the way he starts all of his videos. He's like, boys! And you instantly know, oh, that's Ludwig. You know, and there's people like that. And I thought, welcome. I'm trying to do a political page. I'm trying to build a community. I want to do things for many people, right? So I want to be welcoming. But I also thought, maybe the German word, willkommen, or sass. That might be a good one too. So we'll work on that. We'll work on it. I'm not really sure how to use different audio things because I don't have a stream deck or anything crazy like that. I have my computer set up here in the Oval Office, and that's pretty much it. But I think welcome, and then getting into it is a good one. Or maybe even willkommen, since that's not a very common word. And then I can say, welcome to the stream, so on and so forth. Because if I go, welcome, and then welcome to the stream, people are like, didn't you just say that? But that's neither here nor there. And I can't use howdy howdy because some other guy uses that, and it's frustrating. So my little catchphrases are already taken, and I feel like, how's it going? What's up? Just doesn't quite catch the emotion. It doesn't evoke the emotion that I'm trying to get, the attention grabber that I want. So I think, though, for now, like I said, we're going to go ahead and do some dailies. I don't know. I mean, I've been talking about Roe v. Wade every stream so far. I'm going to start snipping those up and putting them up on YouTube just to have the discourse separate. But actually, you know what? I do want to share a few things. Memes, which is apparently how we get our politics nowadays, but, that's the way it is. So I think we'll start off with this one from Occupy Alternative Rock. The Dems have avoided codifying abortion rights into law when they've had supermajorities because they've wanted to be able to continue to invoke the threat of Roe v. Wade being overturned to win elections. And here we are. Completely ineffectual, useless party. It's not rocket science as to why Dems won't codify Roe versus Wade. All of our civil rights are bargaining chips for them for elections. Once you take those away, there's no reason to vote for them. The Democrats are a right-wing party. The entirety of the U.S. government is right-wing, and that's a fact. And I've made this mention many times, even when I ran for DNC Chair back in 2017. I said, if you don't start listening to your constituents, they will turn their backs on you. And if you keep feeding them little crumbs, they are going to demand more or build their own infrastructure. And if you take away our right to protest and work within the organization, the only thing we're going to do is rebel. And this is where we're at. Roe v. Wade is being... what do they call that? Overturned. Roe v. Wade is being overturned. And the chickens have come home to roost. What promise can you possibly make now? Oh, we'll reinstate Roe v. Wade. Like you've gotten rid of student loans? Like you've raised the minimum wage? Like you've held billionaires and corporations accountable? The thing is, it's more than that. It's more than just lies and deceit within the political duopoly. It's the fact that we have to even have this argument in the first place, and that human rights are being discussed as bargaining chips or as something that has two sides that are worth debating. Right? This isn't about the tax code. Should we tax microphones more than we tax webcam stands? That's a debate. That is a debatable thing. That is a topic worthy of debate. Should we tax those more than we tax the other? Okay, fine, let's have that discussion. But when it goes to, should women have the right to body autonomy, their own bodies, Should people have the right to body autonomy? That's not a debate. That's the very letter of the word of every text in your religion. But the second you make it my problem, you have crossed the line, and that's the point. We cannot codify into law that women don't have the right to an abortion because, and there's a really good reason for it, and let me tell you. The treatment for an ectopic pregnancy is abortion. The treatment for a septic uterus is abortion. The treatment for a miscarriage that your body won't release is abortion. And if you can't get those abortions, you die. You die. Abortion is a viable medical and necessary medical procedure. And guess what? Miscarriages are naturally occurring abortions. So are we really going to imprison women and transgender men for having miscarriages or ectopic pregnancies or septic uteri or whatever else? Because that has already been attempted in Alabama and other southern states. Well, I should say right-wing states. That is the direction we're taking. So, again, for Mother's Day, just in time no less, the best thing you can do for your mothers, your sisters, your daughters, anyone who might be affected by this, is fight for them, to stand up for them, and demand that Roe v. Wade be reinstated and codified into law. That's all there is to it. This is not a debate. It's like literally denying, I don't know, insulin shots to people with diabetes. Oh wait, we already do. V. Wade should be treated as human beings by having to compare it to other issues of lesser or more egregious comparability. Like, apparently it doesn't stand on its own because that is how much we disregard women and trans men in our society. And it has to come to an end. Because the buck doesn't stop there. Once Roe v. Wade is gone, again, with the memes, let me see if I saved that one. No, I did not. Essentially, it starts with Roe v. Wade, right? And then it goes back to women not being able to get a degree, not being able to get a degree in a certain area, not being able to hold certain jobs, not being able to get a bank account, not being able to vote, hold land, carry titles, right? And then it goes on to the civil rights. Now, if you're not white, you can't do these things. And then it goes, if you're not white and straight, you can't do these things. And then it just goes back and back and back until we've truly regressed to the 1800s, where the only people who could make any sort of authoritative decision was white landowning men. And that is what this country, the conservative bloc, has been fighting for ever since they lost those rights, rather those privileges. And make no mistake, that's oppression. That's dictatorship. That's not a democracy, representative or otherwise. And so if we want to live in a nation of laws that is secular, that is embracing freedom and empowering the masses to live and survive a meaningful, quality life, then step one is ensuring that every single person in this country has autonomy over their own bodies. That is literally the first step. That is the bar, the basis of any functioning society. Do individual people have the individual right to do with their body as they please? And if the answer is no, you do not have a functioning society. You do not have a functioning democracy. And at the end of the day, that is what we're facing. That is what Roe v. Wade means. It isn't, oh no, women can't get abortions because they're sluts. It's, oh no, women can't get medical treatment for something that is completely out of their control. Oh, and by the way, women now no longer have control over their own body. Oh, and by the way, men who will never experience pregnancy are the one headlining this argument, spearheading this argument. The debate is never around, well, if we deny women the right to Roe v. Wade, well, then they have to, be more careful when they have sex or about their bodies or whatever else. It's never women have the right to choose what to do with their own body. It's never that. It's never about human rights. It's always about how can we control women's decisions and livelihoods. It's purely about the control and the oppressive nature of denying women any choices, or some choices, to get to the point of any choices. And that's what this is fundamentally about. You can literally replace Roe v. Wade needs to be codified into law with women's rights and body autonomy needs to be codified into law. The woman's right to intrinsic human rights needs to be codified into law. And that literally human rights and body autonomy as a whole needs to be codified into law. That is what that could say just as easily as Roe v. Wade. Because that is the basis for which that relies upon. And for those of you who might see this and will say, well, life begins at conception. Says who? You? Your God? Your faith? What about my God? What about my faith? What about her God and her faith? Oh, science says it? No, science does not. Science does not say that life begins at conception. Science does not say that. Science says an abortion is a medical procedure for various reasons, and that a viable pregnancy isn't until at least the third trimester. And even then, it still requires full term. That's the point. We, human beings, do not have the right to define what is and where is life. It's literally taking a step back and stating, this is a person who is alive, who is making a choice to do something with their own body that could affect their life and a potential life thereafter. And even if we did use the Bible as the, the line of when life begins, the Bible itself states that life begins at first breath. So even if that was your argument, you would still be wrong, because the Bible does not side with your oppressive misogynistic beliefs. So even if we were a religious society, a theocratic society, the Bible would still defend abortion rights. So, to that end, we need to codify Roe v. Wade into law. We need to stop trying to oppress women. We need to stop trying to strip them of their rights. And we need to stop trying to marginalize people who are already marginalized. It's that simple. If you are a human being, the law cannot tell you what to do with your own body. Done. End of sentence, end of law. That's... Have that, we don't have a democracy. So, that is my opening rant. We will definitely be getting back to that further on in this stream. Oh wow, instant login. See what happens when you... Oh, okay. I was gonna say... While we're waiting, though, I really challenge you all to find a moral argument to deny someone what the right to do with their body. And if you still think that you can come up with one, go ahead and turn that argument upon yourself. Let the law control your reproductive rights. And then tell me how you feel. And this goes for men. In general, I would say. How would you feel if you had to get a mandatory vasectomy at 18? How would you feel? That you had to get a mandatory... Or that you didn't have a choice to get it revoked unless you had the consent and approval of several doctors, a spouse, and maybe your mother. Because that is the current reality of women seeking an abortion. Think about it before you start opening your mouth and speaking stupidity about a subject upon which you know little to nothing about, and with complete duplicity. Because if you aren't willing to abide by the same